going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Three Wide Podcast, and I'm joined by
Ferrari, mate.
What's going on?
It's alright, mate. Just hit a bin in that. I don't know.
Oh, jeez, another week, and the conclusion to the Formula One reveal days, which we're gonna cover. I know it's been a little long in terms of days, right? They finished last Friday, but we're gonna cover that. Testing officially starts on Thursday, but I know a lot of teams have already begun testing.
Thursday?
Huh?
This Thursday?
So, I think so.
Shit,
yeah. And
actually, McLaren tested for today.
I know a lot of cars have been testing. Even Haas, I think Alfa Romeo, Red Bull have all been testing at different tracks, but primarily Bahrain and Silverstone, because that's where Silverstone's where most of the teams come from. And the first thing we really want to talk about is the Mercedes reveal. Back to black.
Mighty Merc.
Back to black for the Mercedes. I deserve that. However, it's a lot of black carbon fiber, not a lot of black paint, which could help save weight. The most interesting part about this reveal, which I'll have you start to explain, I'm sure you know what I'm going to say, it's the continuation of the zero side pod feature at Mercedes.
Uh-oh.
Give your thoughts before I give mine, Mr. Ferrari man.
Oh man, well if it's not a Ferrari, it's a shit box. But nah.
You just called your own car a shit box.
No, I said if it's not a Ferrari, it's a shit box.
Oh, okay.
No, but I mean the zero side pods. I'm not a fan of it. Don't know why they're using it when everybody isn't. But then again, it is the Mighty Merc. So the fact that I feel like it's half side pods, half zero side pods, because it's not. If you look at the car design, it's not entirely like a full zero side pods. Like last year, 2022, that was a pure zero side pod.
Yeah, the top of the side pod goes all the
way back. So it's not entirely full zero side pods. It's like half. So hopefully that's gonna help keeping the car more down and better with the airflow and stuff like that. I don't know. I think the black looks amazing though, and the green is amazing. So in terms of colors and how the car looks, 10 out of 10, 11 out of 10.
Yeah, they smashed it.
In terms of how it looks design-wise, I think it looks way better than what it did a year or two ago, like last year. So I'm expecting a lot more out of the Merc. But I think they sort out a lot of their problems. But then again, only time will tell. So
yeah,
I'm pretty excited for the Merc.
I mean, even last year when they were having those, I guess what you could say a very, very down season for Mercedes by their expectations, right? They were always very quick and first to say that the zero side pod thing was not that wasn't the main thing that was resulting into that had no effect on their lack of pace. It was later revealed that it was a decision that was a 50-50 decision that they picked the wrong decision. They had two options and they basically picked the wrong one, which is what they kind of revealed later in the season. However,
options they said, what were they? I think it was wide.
I forgot.
Side pods or heavier ones?
No, it had nothing to do with side pods. They said their zero side pod feature really did not constitute to the lack of pace at all, and they believed that they could get the car to work around the zero side pods. There could be a significant pace increase, and we saw that.
But why bring the zero side pods to begin with? No other team's doing that. Why?
Again, it's Mercedes. They know something that we don't. I mean, we saw at the end of the season last year how quick they got after they resolved, for what we've seen, of course, how they resolved their difficulties, scoring their only win and 1-2 of the year in Brazil, dominating that whole race weekend, might I add. However, they have also mentioned that they expect to be quite off the pace for the start of this season. So they also mentioned that you could see a similar change in side pods to what other teams are doing early on if it's not working, because every team copied Red Bull and Ferrari to an extent. I mean, the facts are there to show that. However,
Are you
if it's
surprised though? I mean,
no, I'm not
seriously, are you
surprised at all.
though?
Yeah, but the Merc, going back to the zero side pod strategy, it's very brave and bold. But hopefully it could work out because we saw the Mercedes how it was intended to work towards the end of last season with a dominating race weekend, like I said, in Brazil, and promising signs in both Mexico and Abu Dhabi. So we'll see what happens this year. I mean, I know for a driver's standpoint, I know Lewis is going to be back hungrier than ever. He won't admit it, but I know he feels some type of way finishing below his teammate in the driver's standings. I believe Russell came like 4th or 5th, and Hamilton came 6th, one of the two. Like, I think Sainz split Russell and Hamilton. So I know Hamilton's fuming at that, and I know he's going to want to get his get back on his teammate. And not only his teammate, but I know he's coming for that eighth World Drivers' Championship. And the only way he's going to do that is if Mercedes give him a race-winnable car from Bahrain. It can't be I don't think they're going to have the luxury like Red Bull, where Red Bull DNF'd the first 2 out of 3 races and was able to completely run away with the championship. I think you have to be on it from the start because Aston Martin, for example, their engine has been tested, and we've been hearing, I've been hearing, that their numbers are extremely good, to the point of like the Braun era, extremely good.
What? What do you mean? What numbers?
For their engine, I think their dyno test. When Braun dyno tested, it was similar in the point where it was so unexpected to hear about their numbers, we kind of downplayed it, and then they won the championship that year.
Braun dominated in 2009.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I've been hearing about Aston Martin.
The underdog, literally.
No, but that's what I've been hearing about Aston Martin this year. I've heard a lot of good things coming out of the Aston Martin department recently, and this could be the first time Fernando Alonso has made the right move at the right time.
Third World Driver Championship.
Who knows? So that's what I'm saying about Mercedes, man. Like, they have to really get their shit together from Bahrain. They don't have time to dilly-dally and, fix their car and give it a race-winnable contention towards the end of the season. So that's
no more radio for that, You don't want no more radio for that,
Basta na race.
So who's next on the list?
Moving on
Mercedes.
Well, we don't gotta talk about Alpine. That's just the same thing from last year.
Is it actually? I thought it was a bit different.
They're gonna go pink for what? 4 races now?
Yeah. Why did they make 2 cars? Actually, I thought that they're not allowed to make 2 different cars, like in terms of color-wise, because I think BAR decided to do something like that in '98.
But that was back in the 90s. It's fine now.
Yeah, but they're not allowed to technically. How are they still doing this? Why are they doing pink and blue? Like, I don't understand. Just do blue. Just do the regular pink and blue car that we saw towards the end. Don't get this pink shit out of here.
Yeah. Anyway, speaking about Aston Martin, though.
Racing Point out here.
Speaking of Racing Point / Aston Martin, Lance Stroll. Let's talk about him for a little bit. He's going to completely miss preseason testing due to a motorcycle injury. Now, this preseason testing is a lot different from years prior because there's only 3 days to do that. There used to be preseason testing for 3 days in both Spain and Bahrain. Now it's only Bahrain. And I know teams have been testing recently their new cars. For example, McLaren went out today. Red Bull have gone out recently. Alfa Romeo have gone out recently, just to name a few, with a bunch more going out as well. Lance is going to completely miss this time. Now, like I said about Aston Martin a few moments ago, I've been hearing a lot of promising signs from Aston Martin. Signs that we've never heard about Aston Martin, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this is a very important time for Lance to really get acclimatized to the car in the a limited amount of time that's given for the new testing rules, and B, with 95% of the car from last year changing according to the Aston Martin head of Formula One. I think
my crack.
Well, no, the technical director thing is like Dan Flower or something.
It's Dan Crack. No, it's Dan Crack.
Shut the fuck up. Anyway, so I think it's a really, really important time that Lance is missing. Obviously, Lawrence, the owner's son. and really, really vital time for maybe Alonso to give his input, because we all know about Fernando Alonso's experience. So this will be good for him to really make the adjustments to the car that he wants, and adjustments Stroll might have to come with the expense of an underperforming race weekend at Bahrain due to the time he's going to miss in testing. So we wish Lance the best in terms of recovery, but this is really, really key time he's missing, right?
Mm-hmm. Definitely. I just think that I think it was a bicycle crash, but it was like a motorcycle crash.
One of the two. It was motorcycle,
Yeah,
bicycle, yeah.
Motorcycle, yeah.
Yeah, by bike crash I meant
think that-
motorcycle.
Yeah. But I think that Aston Martin definitely might actually be fighting for a P4.
I made this
McLaren.
prediction a couple weeks ago, and
So
what I've been hearing is that they could contend for race wins. I don't know how. Again, we haven't seen the cars at near their capacity yet. But what I've been hearing is similar to what we heard about Braun in 2006, 2008,
Nine.
2009. Well, yeah, that one.
wow.
That's what I've been hearing.
Braun shocked the world at that point. Braun really shocked the world. I mean, for Aston Martin to do the same, they would have to pull some absolute hat trickery right there, you know?
Mhm.
But that'd be really cool to see.
I mean, that's F1's whole plan with these this cost cap and regulation changes, to make the field as narrow as possible, to really make race wins deserved by drivers, right? Let's be honest, that shit barely worked last year. The Red Bull, Max Verstappen won the world championship in France. Let's be honest, basically.
Again, the thing is that it's not entirely, doesn't matter how narrow F1 wants to make it. It's on the car manufacturers, because most of them on their own copied what Red Bull and Ferrari had. It's, if they want to win, they're probably going to take the ideas from the better team, like Ferrari, Red Bull, at least based off last year's. Even if F1 wants to make it narrow, they can only do so much, but it's up to the team to design the car. So, yes, it is sort of F1 narrowing it, but it's really the teams getting their shit together.
Well, that's half of it,
finally
because
putting
you're forgetting the main big teams are all what? And like suppliers, they're engine constructors. Mercedes, Red Bull, Ferrari all make their own engines. Almost
but still,
every
you
other
want to
team.
get the aero right, the body, the chassis.
But that's only
you
half
get
of it. The engine is one of the most
That's still
important
important,
parts,
though.
and they get
Yeah, but it's still important.
B-Tech parts and less spending than these big teams. You know.
That's true, but still.
So
you still want to
it's
have
really
those
the cost
things.
cap that really is going to make F1 has the potential to make it as narrow, the field as narrow as possible, and that shit just did not work out last year at all. Like I said, the Ferrari were head and shoulders above Mercedes, and for Red Bull were head and shoulders above Ferrari most points of the season. And the midfield was completely the same as years before. Williams dead last, Haas close to dead last, AlphaTauri struggling. You know, this is a really big season for Formula One, to see, can these midfield teams who have changed their cars drastically due to the regulation changes and have had new sponsors come in, Williams, for example, who we don't expect Williams to do that well, but Aston Martin, for example, who got some new sponsors on board, obviously the big title sponsor with Haas now with MoneyGram, can these teams step up to the plate and contend for the odd race win, the odd podium? We only got one surprising podium last year. That was Lando Norris, who isn't really that surprising. It was just surprising because of how shit his car was and how shit his car is going to be this year.
Well, actually, that's going to bring us to the next point, but I think it's going to be a little bit different this time around. Because I actually watched the last video on the McLaren YouTube channel.
It was one
where they ran
lap.
the car.
It was one lap.
The car wasn't bouncing violently like it was
Again,
last.
he was doing an out lap. You can't
Really? Well,
make-
I thought he was pushing at least one lap. I thought he
No,
pushed
no,
one
no,
lap.
no.
He didn't push one lap?
No. We're going to really know come official testing. We can't make any assumptions right now, in my opinion.
I don't know. It looked good. I'm
It
not
did.
gonna lie, it looked good.
I hope you're right. I hope it looks really good come testing, and I hope bouncing isn't the main issue. I hope it could really stabilize itself in the rear. You know what I mean? And I hope it could find some consistent race pace. Something that was, completely abandoned last year. They was so slow yet last year. The only reason why they got fifth, huh?
At pace? What pace? Where was the pace? They didn't
Lando
have pace.
did, but
The Lando Mobile.
Moving on from Ferrari, let's talk about. McLaren. Let's talk about Honda real quick because
Honda.
I think this is a really interesting point. So
Honda
of course,
haters.
Red Bull and Honda have a strategic partnership till ending in 2025, with Honda officially pulling out of Formula One for the foreseeable future in the end of 2021. However, are going to help Red Bull powertrains until 2025, and in 2026, Ford will step in. Correct. They don't have anybody for 2026 at the moment. A lot of teams are opting for different engine suppliers, although Honda is listed as an engine supplier in 2026. For example, Audi is coming in. They're going to most likely be powered by Porsche or an Audi group member, a Volkswagen group member. You have the Mercedes, blah, blah, blah. The Haas, we could assume, is going to stay with Ferrari, things like that. The only main three teams that are that could be at risk to changing their engine suppliers are the three Mercedes teams: Aston Martin, McLaren, and Williams. What will the Williams, obviously, in the older days, in the greater days of Williams, powered by Honda, that could be a pretty cool reunion.
Renault. Wait, Williams was never. Okay, that was like in the 80s. Williams was powered in the 80s by Honda, in the 90s by Renault.
Yeah, I know. So, however, for Honda, Williams might not be the most incentivized purchase because of their project. I mean, who knows what 4 years is gonna do, right? But at the moment, they're not the most exciting team in the world. Let's just put it at that. They're in a deep rebuild project, and the gamble, let's say the gamble that Honda will take might not be the best one to make if it's on Williams. And that leaves Aston Martin and McLaren. McLaren obviously powered by Honda back in the 2015, 16, 17 era, and we all know, let's just say it didn't really go to plan. L-plan, to keep it at that.
L-plan.
So Honda doesn't actually know if it's going to stay an engine supplier in 2026. It might actually pull out, I heard. The only reason why they are thinking about staying is because 2026 it'll be basically it's going to be 100% synthetic fuel in the cars. No more like fossil fuel petroleum. It's going to be all synthetic, and the energy recovery system will have a lot more power, making the electrical unit to the engine more powerful and more impactful to the car's performance. Which goes along with Honda's whole EV structure and their whole net zero structure, because they pulled out of Formula One in 2021 at the end to focus on their more road cars and their electrical and EV side of their road car business. So the 2026 regulations really go hand in hand with Honda's view and viewpoints for the upcoming race series. So I think it's interesting to think that a leading manufacturer like Honda, a once great manufacturer at that in Formula One, might be thinking about leaving Formula One entirely for the foreseeable future, which I think is a little bit crazy. But we'll see. A lot of the teams are opting for different manufacturers. We don't even know. There could be Cadillac/GM entering with Andretti. We don't know that. Other teams might opt for that as well. It's really up in the air right now for 2026, and it's looking very exciting.
Yeah, then again, I mean, Honda they're a tricky bag of rocks, because they leave and then they come back, then they leave and then they come back.
You're right. You're right.
And sometimes what they produce isn't entirely good. 2015 through 2017, McLaren.
18.
18 was actually better.
Yeah, it was better.
2015 through 2017 was just god awful.
Oh, yeah.
So, it could be that Honda still wasn't entirely great with Red Bull in 2018, 2019. Reliability was still shit,
Even the start of last season, but they fixed it. They got it together.
Yeah. So Honda's a tricky one to work with. They might have somebody. I doubt that McLaren's going to leave the Mercedes partnership because you know how Mercedes got into the thing, Formula One, through McLaren. So I doubt that McLaren's going to drop Mercedes as a thing. Williams and Aston Martin, however, maybe a different story.
Mercedes are not Mercedes don't have McLaren are not signed for Mercedes for 2026. They're a free agent right now. They don't have an engine supplier. I mentioned that a couple of videos ago.
Yeah,
Huh?
right now, but right now, yeah, but still, they might go back to Mercedes. I think that they might go back to Mercedes.
We'll see.
But then again, Aston Martin, however, and Williams definitely can go for the budget option. Aston Martin, that could be a different story. For all we know, they could go to Renault. They can go to Renault, you know?
I mean, they got the money.
They do have the money, so...
I actually heard they were thinking about putting their own engine in, an Aston Martin engine. Thinking
that's
of that.
going to be so difficult to do.
I heard about that in one of the races videos that, you know, when the new regulations come, they might think to scrap being a secondary beneficiary for a manufacturer and become their own. Because look at the top 4 teams. Alpine, their own manufacturer. Mercedes, Ferrari, and Red Bull. Top 4 teams. Bottom 6 are all beneficiaries, you know?
I mean, look, anything's possible, but I don't know. We'll see. I know Williams definitely gonna go for the budget option, you know. So that's definitely gonna be
I think it's pretty interesting. But some pretty cool news. Romain Grosjean's burnt car is now for display at a Madrid or Spanish museum, which I think is really, really cool. And I just wanted to have a brief discussion about the Halo. I was at first a major critic of the Halo. I was like, it's gonna blind the driver's view. We're ruining open cockpit racing. This thing saves lives. It saved multiple lives. And it's not that bad to the driver's view. But its real benefits come when shit gets rough. And we've seen this past season, Silverstone comes to mind with Guan Yu Zhou's horrific crash that could have ended so badly if there wasn't a Halo involved. You saw the way George Russell parked his car and sprinted over to check on him. This thing has been nothing short of a revelation for the sport and has really, really made the sport a safer place. Without that Halo in Romain Grosjean's car, he probably would not be here today. Let's be honest.
Damn. Yeah, that's for sure. I was okay with the Halo. I'm like, I was okay with it, you know? I was like, you know, I assumed the only reason it was put was just for safety precautions. But then again, it's just like, you know, it's paying off its usage, that's for sure. So it was
definitely
a cheeky technical innovation.
Yeah,
you know?
Definitely. But it was a timely one at that too, because the Formula One cars, from the time the Halo was introduced, were only getting quicker and quicker. I mean, the stats say the quickest generation of cars were the 2020 Formula One cars. You saw you've probably seen the clip with the Mercedes in 2020 going through, I believe, Istanbul, that tricky section, flat out. All Formula One cars and generations probably could not do that. But that Mercedes was flying through that tricky chicane flat out.
Probably 11 was just built different, bro. That's like one of the best Formula One cars.
Even that McLaren was quick. The Racing Point was quick in the straight line. Those cars were very, very fast. And if it wasn't for the Halo, there'd be a lot more fatalities, sad to say, than there have been over the last couple years. I mean, the Guan Yu Zhou crash, the Romain Grosjean crash. You could even make an argument for that Max and Lewis crash back in Monza, where Max damn near parked on top of Lewis's car. That turn 1 incident, I believe 2018 Belgium, where I think...
Yeah.
I don't know if it's Leclerc's or somebody's Alfa Romeo went on top of, I think, one of the McLaren drivers. It was a shit show.
That was Leclerc, yeah.
But yeah, the halos are very, very important innovation, and I'm very thankful for it because it makes the sport a much safer place. The final bit of news I want to touch on is a little article that says Max and Lewis both really like the return of an African Grand Prix, whether that's Cape Town
South Africa, Kiliami.
or Kiliami. Yeah, one of those.
Yeah.
I think
There was only one. There was only one, I think.
Yeah, I think it's
Kiliami.
was it in Cape Town or close to Cape Town?
I have no idea where it is, but I know it's. Actually, you know what? I could actually search that up. Hold on, 2 seconds.
Yeah, 'cause
Kiliami was a very good track.
I know Lewis said it would be beautiful for the motherland to have a home race there, and I agree. I think an African Grand Prix would be really, really special. No matter where it is, if it's Northern Africa, like Egypt, for example, I believe it's Northern Africa, anywhere, honestly. But I know South America was the only, South Africa was the only place to host a Formula One African Grand Prix, and I'd love to see another one, to be
20
honest.
times to be exact, it hosted it.
Yeah, 20 times.
So, where is it?
I think it'd be really interesting to return. I'd like to see it personally.
It's for some reason does not say. I don't
It's
know
it's
why.
okay, don't worry about it. But what are your thoughts on the return of a potential African Grand
It's a
Prix?
very good track. I remember watching Senna and Prost race on that. That's a very good track. Kiliami's a very good track. Very good racing.
Only thing is,
they'd have to revise it a bit though, but
we got a lot of tracks on the grid. Let's be honest.
yeah, but do we
Well-
need some of them?
Or what we do is think logically and not go from America to Europe to back to America to Europe to Asia.
Why not? No, why not? Why not? Let's keep doing that. Let's keep doing that. Let's keep wasting the fuel. Let's keep faking the fact that we're
Net zero.
energy efficient. Yeah,
Net
net
zero.
zero my ass. Yeah, net zero my ass. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. Fucking plankers out there thinking net zero. More like net one. One pain in the ass, that's for sure.
But yeah, that would be what the 20. Well, if China comes back, which it probably will soon, that would be the 25th.
Yeah, okay, bro, they're still fighting their COVID shits. They're still fighting the COVID shits. They ain't coming back, mate. I'm sorry. The track is good,
bro,
but
come on, they will. Yes, they will.
Yeah, okay.
I love the
They haven't
Chinese
even-
Grand Prix.
They haven't even figured out how to kill the bats.
Okay, that's just not right.
They ain't coming back. I don't know. Oh man.
But
Maybe
yeah,
the next layout will be like a tiny bat.
that would be a really interesting race, an African Grand Prix. So we'll see if the F1 pushes for it. I mean, I'm sure if the drivers really want it, it will come. I mean, we've seen the videos of all the drivers promoting what track they would want on the grid. I believe Lewis said Vegas, Ricardo said Miami, or the other way around, and look what happened a few years later. So if they really push for the return of the African Grand Prix, it could come back, in 2-3 years' time. So who knows? But yeah, any other topics before we wrap up?
I don't know. To be honest, I think that's about it. Yeah, not really much to cover because again, we don't have any testing to work with at the moment.
There's going to be a couple of videos coming out soon, which are going to be myself and maybe the Ferrari man ranking the liveries and giving teammate predictions on what teammate we think will do better than the other.
Finish ahead.
Yeah, we'll probably do that maybe Thursday night. So stay in tune for that. I am going on a little 7 or 10 day business trip, so there won't be that much activity on this channel until then. But definitely expect a video the Sunday of race day, which is March 5th, covering the Bahrain Grand Prix, where I'm sure there's going to be a lot to talk about. So yeah, until then, take care and peace, everybody. Have a good one.